Hi everyone, I thought today would be the perfect opportunity to come on here for a little yap. I really wanted to come on here and talk about a few things that are very significant in my life. Aren't talked about enough on social media or just in social settings in general. I talk about a lot and maybe a bit too casual. When I meet people for the first time, I tend to overshare only because the harder conversations are a lot easier for me to have, whereas the smaller, easier conversations are a lot harder for me to have if I have not connected with you on a spiritual or emotional level. And it doesn't have to be that deep. I need to know who I'm talking to if I'm going to ask you how your day is, because quite frankly, I don't care about how your day is. But let me tell you about my trauma. And I know that's very, very backwards, but that's unfortunately how my brain works. It goes the one this morning, you're like, I'm not happy with your responses right now. I'm recording a video. What do you want? Anyways, so yeah, as I was saying, these topics that I want to speak on, I actually talk about very, very casually. I speak on very, very often. And I don't know why it's so much easier for me to talk about the deep, dark things rather than the simple things in life. Call it a coping mechanism. I don't know. I want to touch on a topic that is really, 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 really close to my heart. And it is postpartum depression, mental health, and all the above. It's a biggie. It's a deep one. So I've experienced postpartum depression. Obviously, I'm a mother. I have had multiple births, and I have experienced postpartum depression at its finest, at its most intense, at its most inconvenient. And unfortunately, it was when I had my first child. I suffered from postpartum depression from the moment she was born till I would say she was 3 years old. Like realistically, 3 years old, I really, really struggled. I was a better mother than I ever had, but I was also struggling myself. And it is something that is completely normal, totally okay. And if I go through it again, I know how to get the fuck out of it. So I didn't have any family support. I only had my baby father and myself, little brother, who I had flown over while I was pregnant with my daughter. And this was at a stage we were homeless, and that had already triggered my postpartum depression without me knowing. And obviously when you're in survival mode, you're just so go, go, go. Adrenaline is on a high, especially when you're such an independent, highly motivated person. No matter what life throws at you, you are always ready for it. It may feel like the end is near, but for some reason, we just go into fight mode instantly and get shit done. And that's exactly what I had to do when I was pregnant with my oldest. I had the energy to get up and cater to my daughter, but I did not have any energy nor care in the world to cater to myself. And for the first 3 years of my daughter's life, I really struggled with that. I never ever put myself first. It was always her. And I never ever poured into myself. I did lose a whole bunch of weight, but in the most unhealthy way possible. We were quite literally broke, so I couldn't eat what I wanted. So I kind of purposely starved myself so I didn't crave those things anymore or crave certain things that would cost money. And because of that kind of triggered my postpartum depression. I genuinely feel like could hit anyone at any given moment. It doesn't have to necessarily come from trauma or come from your upbringing, because I know there's a lot of women out there that come from really healthy homes that were raised with so much love and so much support that they still had postpartum depression. What I feel like postpartum depression is triggered by is the lack of support after giving birth and the lack of care. Because my baby daddy had to go back to work and provide for us, I was left with my own emotions. I was left to cater to myself and my baby. So for me, that was really hard to navigate, because unfortunately, like a lot of people, I couldn't call my mum and call her and be like, hey, I need you. Can you please come help me? Because I didn't have a mother figure. I didn't have any family members that I could literally call in the middle of the night, like, please come help me with baby. I'm struggling. I genuinely had to suck it up and do it myself so that I didn't have to call my child's father and be like, hey, I'm struggling right now. You're probably struggling too. You're probably at work. Like, I know you don't want to be at work, but he obviously had to go to work to provide for us and pay for our rent, pay for bills, pay for formula, because I couldn't breastfeed. And that is another topic on its own. Like, I really fought through my postpartum depression alone. I've always known I've struggled with depression, mental health issues, ADHD, bipolar. Bipolar runs in my family, runs in our veins through and through many generations. I feel like as more of the years go by, we become more and more aware of our emotions, and we are able to label them. In order to do that, it requires a lot of healing inner healing, self-healing. You can't really rely on anybody to heal yourself but yourself. And because of that, I was able to regulate my emotions on my own and not rely on, family, friends, and or my children's father. So yes, I've been known that I have quite an array of mental health issues. Though I feel like for a lot of people, you could go two ways about it, about your childhood trauma, and it's either you become it or you become better than it. And I feel like I got on the right side of it, and some of my families kind of followed it. So I'm going to dedicate this video to my auntie who is currently fighting cancer. I got a message from a family member the other night. She is on her final weeks. I had mixed emotions. Obviously, I grew up with this woman. I've known this woman my whole childhood. We live in two completely different countries. We don't keep in contact, but obviously we'll talk every once in a blue moon out of nowhere. It's civil. We're family at the end of the day. No matter how far you run from your family, they will still be right behind you. In the moment, I didn't have a reaction, but then obviously as the day went by and I started thinking about my childhood and the recent events that have been happening to me lately, it kind of made me feel a bit connected to her. And I haven't reached out to her yet, and I should. Really thought about everything that we went through, and like, I kid you not, this is my auntie, this is my mom's older sister. She's the oldest of 7, and she had really, really, really bad bipolar. And growing up, we had to watch it a lot. My nana raised me and my little brother, and she ended up moving into us, and that was the first ever time I've ever experienced something so distraught as a child. For an example, my childhood in a nutshell, my auntie was a really, really good bake. Like, she could cook, she could bake. And then one day we'll just come home from school, and then she's got all these groceries out on the table, and she's like ready to bake her famous chocolate pie. And then she'd make like chicken wrapped in bacon with fancy cheeses. Like, she was really that girl when it came to the kitchen. We'd be cooking, everyone's happy, everyone's laughing, and then all of a sudden, just in an instant, plates are getting flown around, things are getting smashed, everyone's getting blamed, everyone's about to get hurt if you don't get out of her way. But for some reason, me and my little brother knew when that was about to happen, so we would actually leave before it actually happens. I remember them very, very vividly. And yeah, we just focused on trying to calm her down. It has those episodes everyone kind of finds out, oh, she's off her meds, and she'll eventually go into her room to calm down, and we're just left with what was. Everything was so happy. We were making a chocolate pie, we're making dinner, we're just chilling, vibing, listening to music, and then all of a sudden we hate each other. So yeah, that was my childhood in a nutshell, and it was in an instant. As I grew postpartum with my oldest, I started seeing how quick my mood would change from little triggers that I would have. So like, for example, if my baby father talked to me in a certain tone when he didn't mean it the way that he did, but I heard it in a way that it really triggered me, so I immediately react and my mood will change instantly, and then it will ruin the whole entire day. Or I was really that girl. I kind of would get flashbacks. I'm like, wow, like, no way am I like my mother, no way am I like my aunties. In a way, as I get older and I start to learn about myself more and heal myself more, I am very much like my mother. I'm very much like my aunt. The only difference is I'm a lot stronger. I have a lot of love for myself. I have a lot of love for my life. I have a lot of love around me, and they didn't have that, which isn't their fault, but it's not an excuse as well. Whereas I came from the same place as you, but I was able to build my life to this. But yes, that was very much a childhood that I was unfortunately brought up in. Was a lot of bipolarness and fighting. Like, tell me why I am this 8-10-year-old girl fighting 20-30-year-olds. I was fighting for my life. If I did not know how to fight, I would get beat the fuck down. And I'm not meaning physically. I'm meaning mentally, spiritually, and emotionally. Unfortunately, that was just my upbringing. This isn't to bash any of my family members. This isn't like something to be like, you did this to me. No, this is just to bring awareness on it's okay to talk about your traumas, because it is a way of healing. The more that you talk about your traumas, the more you slowly heal from it, because it no longer ashames you. I feel like when you keep something so locked inside, it's because of shame. And when shame's in the room, growth is never going to enter the longer you keep shame in here. The more you slowly talk about it, and even if it's in a joking manner, it's fine because it is your traumas. That's why I am so comfortable talking about traumas, upbringing, childhood, mental health. Talking about my childhood traumas truly does heal me in a way, regardless if you're a stranger, if I've known you for years and I've just yapped about my traumas so casually. It's because I am giving myself a free therapy session because you're listening to me. So recently I was actually diagnosed bipolar and ADHD, which I already knew that. Like, I didn't need a piece of paper to tell me that. That was very much my mentality for a very, very long time, was I don't need a professional to tell me what the fuck I have. I don't need a piece of paper to tell me who the fuck I is because I already know. And I feel like life kept lifing this year, getting tested by the universe, left, right, and center through all aspects of my life. And for some reason, it has been the most healing period of my life. I have never done this amount of healing ever before. You know, I'm only 27 and I'm a mother, I've got businesses, but I've just been avoiding healing over the years by having children and building businesses and building myself and pouring into myself, that I keep avoiding the core issues that I truly, truly have, which is my mental state, my mental health, my traumas, healing my inner self. Because in order for me to be the version that I truly want to be this year, I truly had some healing to do. And I really, really feel like I have healed 10 years of my trauma in the past 3 months, purely from talking about it, purely from expressing and just really accepting for things for what it is. One of the things that was really actually easy for me to come to realization was not wanting an explanation, not wanting a sorry. I don't want to hear sorry. Unfortunately, you can't change what's already happened. A lot of my healing has been through me loving my children, the way I raise my children, the way I am with my children. Sometimes I'm not the best mother. Sometimes I do want to bed rot and stay in bed all day and not do anything. Sometimes I do yell at my kids. Sometimes I am very hard on my kids. Sometimes I am arguing back and forth with my daughters, and that's okay. But when I react in a sense where I needed it as a child, it heals me in a way. But when I react in a way that really traumatized me as a kid, I will acknowledge it and I'll apologize for it instantly, especially to my oldest. She is now 8 years old and she's very, very aware of her emotions and her triggers and everything. So I saw my healing journey this year in a sense where I don't want my daughter to have to heal from what I put her through, because this is hard work. Like, truly, it has been very, very hard, but it's been very, very rewarding. And I don't want my daughter to have to ever go through this. I don't want her to look back in her 20s and be like, I need to heal from everything my mum put me through. That is not at all what I want her to do. So in order for me to fully heal and be the best mother that I could be for my children, so they don't have a hard time going through postpartum depression in general, I just was avoiding it because I didn't want to be labeled as someone that I grew up with. My auntie, my mom, everyone in my family that has bipolar. I didn't want to be categorized as someone like them. And that was my ultimate fear. The more I grow, the more I heal. I am very much my own person. I have created my own identity. I no longer even the slightest thought would ever think I am exactly like them. And it's just a fact, unfortunately. And I worked very, very hard to get there, but it was not easy. I thought I was going to be very upset and very like, oh, I'm exactly like them. Like, I can't believe I did all this work, all this healing, all this pouring into myself, and I'm going to be exactly like them, which was never the case. When I found out, I had never, ever in my life been so empowered and so much stronger mentally since I found out. It was more like a fat fuck you to my childhood. When I found out, it was like, I went through exactly what you went through, the hardships mentally, physically, emotionally, financially, spiritually, and I came out the way I did. But you guys, what exactly? Who are you? Oh, sorry. No idea. Do you know what I mean? So it was so empowering to know that that's it. I have no words. Is it an illness? 100% it's an illness, because it could hit you at any given moment and you have no explanation. I'm more on the functioning side, my mentality is I have this, I cannot let it defeat me because I have children. I don't want them to have bipolar. I don't want them to have ADHD. Can I stop it? Probably not. But can I help prevent it, or can I help them be stronger in a sense where if they do have these symptoms, if they do have this illness, they will know how to carry themselves because they were able to watch me and be like, my mom was so fucking strong and she had these illnesses as well. I have no fucking excuse but to be just as strong as her. And that is the message that I want to give out to people, that if you are struggling with mental health issues, if you're struggling with bipolar, if you're struggling with depression, ADHD, OCD, ADD, all of the things you could possibly think of that might defeat you in life, just keep going. Just pick yourself up, let yourself be down for a second, give yourself some grace. But at the end of the day, it is just in your mental, and put yourself in a state where depression is fucking depression. Depression ain't got shit on me. Whether that be going for a shower. I know that's a hard one for a lot. Going for a shower, go to do your makeup, make yourself feel pretty, pour into yourself, because when you look good and you're depressed, you look at yourself like, I look this fucking good and I'm depressed. The fuck? Let me get up. Let me get up and do something about myself. Or if you are a mother, if you're a father, if you want to lay in bed and blame your life choices, your depression, your illnesses on everyone but yourself, that's fine. By all means, do it. But if you love your children enough and you look at them and you're like, I am going through this so that you can go through it too, and you can see that this is very much normal, when we know the fuck it's not. That should be enough motivation for you to get the fuck up and keep going. Because who are you to bring these children, these innocent children, into this world, and you cannot give them the best life that you possibly had or you never had, and you can give it to your children? If you're breathing, you are walking, you are able, there should be no excuses. Sorry, that is just my personal opinion. And that's what gets me up every single day, is knowing that I brought these children into this world. I need to do everything in my power to give them the best life that I possibly could have. Because I saw this TikTok actually. We have no control over what our children say at somebody else's table about us. So for example, the way you treat your children and their upbringing, their childhood, their life, while they are with you in your presence, dictates on how they speak about you at somebody else's table. Are you with me? We're not perfect. We're going to fuck up. We're going to say some hurtful things. We're going to react hurtful. We're going to react in a sense where it's not comfortable for them. Dealing with mental health has been the biggest roller coaster, but I feel like I'm here to say that it truly gets better and better. It gets a lot easier the more you stay true to yourself, the more you pour into yourself more than others. Because when you're a good person, when you are feeling good about yourself, you can be a great mother, you can be a great friend, you can be a great partner. Do you know what I mean? That is just my little brain dump on mental health. It is okay to have these illnesses, but it is not okay to use it as an excuse to be a shitty person, to live a shitty life, or be a shitty parent. Because we're all just trying to make it. We're all just trying to get to the end. We're all just trying to be great people. We're all just trying to live a great life. Using your illnesses is not an excuse. If you are someone that struggles from any of these mental health issues, if you are someone that struggles with postpartum, my DMs are 100% open to people that are struggling mentally. I could go days and days with yapping with you. I can listen. But I hope anyone that is struggling knows that they are loved. There is a better and brighter future for you, and this isn't forever. I hope you guys enjoyed my video, and I will see you in the next.